it'll be a combination of the crowd singing, it'll be speeches, and it'll be just a very, very historic moment.
Do you know what they'll be singing, or is it freestyle?
Say again?
Do you know what they'll be singing, or is it freestyle?
Oh, well, we will organise some appropriate fun songs in recognition of this historic moment for our nation. And, there will be, it'll be an event that entry and sense will be free. We'll be looking for donations from people. But, we know that funding will be there. And I think it's really, really important that the Big Ben does indeed chime at 11 o'clock.
Why is that so important?
Because it's such a symbol of our democracy, isn't it? I mean, Big Ben, Houses of Parliament. I mean, it is the mother of all democracy. It's such a recognisable symbol. When it chimes on New Year's Eve, it's the beginning of a new year and people celebrate. And I think this is exactly the same moment.
And to those people who think it will be more like a bell tolling for Britain than chiming, what do you say to them? That's how they feel about this moment in our nation's history. What words of comfort do you have for them, Richard Tice?
I think the fact that we've had another vote, the people have spoken again in the general election and spoke very, very clearly that they wanted to get Brexit done, to move on. We're into a new year, a new decade, new hope, new optimism, and this is actually a moment. This moment, whether you think it's chiming or tolling, actually, it is a moment for the country to move on and say, right, actually, we've now left. Let's focus on the future. Let's focus on negotiating a really good trade deal within a very tight time frame. And let's be optimistic. Let's be ambitious for the whole country with all the things that we're good at and we can get even better at. And I think that's the important role of those of us who've been leaders of the various campaigns, and that's the important role of the government and the Prime Minister. And actually, that's what Boris is good at.
Richard, it's Theo. Just a quick question. What happens if they can't get Big Ben to bong at 11 p.m. on the 31st? What will you do then?
If they can't do that, then the sound of Big Ben chiming will blast loudly through our excellent speaker system from our stage on Parliament Square. Of course, it won't be quite the same, but the time will be 11 o'clock UK time, and it will still hopefully represent for everybody that huge symbolism of our democracy working in action. So that's what we're
Which previous moment in history are you going to get those chimes from? When you play that recording, is there a particular moment you think you could have?
It'll be a recording of Big Ben at 11 o'clock. We will get that sorted, don't you worry. Yeah.
or at 12 o'clock and just leave one out. Maybe it's going to edit the 12th. On the question of the crowdfunding, though, Boris Johnson, he knows how to have a bit of fun. He knows how to deliver a bit of fun. Bung a bob for the Big Ben bongs. It's great. But isn't the reality that you and others who supported Brexit, some of the most prominent names who supported Brexit, could easily, between you, get 500 grand together and fund it yourselves?
Well, look, I think actually there's a number of issues here. Firstly, I have no idea where that number came from. It seems pretty extraordinary that there seemed to be no number whatsoever when it bonged on the 1st of January. And here we are just a mere 2 weeks later, and all of a sudden it's £500,000. So, frankly, I think that number is a load of complete nonsense by parts of the establishment that just don't want it to happen, rather Gringe-like. But look,
it was the Prime Minister that said it, just to be clear. It was that part of the establishment that actually said it.
Say again?
It was the Prime Minister that said it.
No, but the number of £500,000 came from elsewhere, and who knows? But I mean, it's bizarre, isn't it? All of a sudden, it's a real problem. Yet when Sadiq wants to, the bells to chime on New Year's Eve, the bells can chime. I mean, it's all about a positive, can-do, optimistic.
Well, even if it costs much less, will you ultimately, you and your pals, be able to fund it if you really want those chimes?
Well, I mean, it's interesting, isn't it? I think it was Lord Ashcroft who actually tweeted out a couple of days ago that he would underwrite a crowdfunding. Look, the money can be raised. I'm very, very confident that money will be raised. People want this to happen. And the other point is actually, we've issued an invitation for the Prime Minister to speak at this rally in Parliament Square. We're waiting to hear from number 10. we very much hope that he will. It'd be, I think, a fantastic symbol.
I don't
for
think
him
he
to be
will.
there
Do you think he will?
And to speak to us all.
Do you think he will?
I hope he does.
Well, I'll tell you
I hope he
who.
does.
Listen to this. David, disgusted in Sussex, says the Big Ben idea is a disgrace, total arrogance by Richard Tice. Us Remainers will consider it I'm sorry, that's what he says. Us Remainers will consider it a slap in the face. We do not feel positive. We are worried for our future. And now Boris Johnson, whatever you think of that, Boris Johnson has to heed that kind of sentiment as well, doesn't he, politically?
He does, and he's already started, talking those ways. But this is an important moment, and actually, I think it does. I just think it's really important to try and even if one is concerned, look, let's try and be optimistic. Let's be ambitious. Let's be bold. Let's have some, let's have some real enthusiasm, some energy to go forwards. Bring the nation together, and maybe actually Big Ben chiming, that's one of the symbols. Treat it as a symbol of coming together. We're all going to get our shoulders behind the wheel and make this a fantastic Brexit success. That's what you need. You need ambition. You need positive leadership. And actually, whatever people think, Boris, I think, is working pretty successfully at that.